Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy day 7 of our condition. It means we're 1/3 finished, which is quite an achievement. Thank you, everybody who's been joining. Tonight we have a really beautiful passage to read from Mother, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this is I think this is the last section we're reading from this first chapter of the Marriage Supper of the Lamb. And in the first version of the book, it's on page 110. And if you have a newer version, it's on page 96. Here we go. I risked my life to bring our children into the world, and now they have their own missions and responsibilities that heaven wishes them to fulfill, and that I also hope they can accomplish. Although as their parent, I may be unable to help them enough, I pray for them every day. If I had experienced only joyful things, I never would have been able to look into people's deepest, innermost hearts. I never would have known the joys of the kingdom of heaven. I have passed through the bottom of hell and experienced every kind of bitterness in life. God wanted me to train myself. What I needed was untiring faith, strong will, and perseverance. That is how I reached this point today. No matter who you are, you will not experience only sweetness and joy on the path to the kingdom of heaven. Going through spiritual struggle is, in fact, a most precious blessing. Through it, you can feel the grace of God. Only when you pass those tests can you be born anew as a true human being. The fruit of perseverance will grow and ripen within you, and one day will become the source of your deepest pride. I grew up in a time of global turbulence from which my homeland of Korea was not exempt. As our people endured Imperial Japan's colonial rule and the Korean War, a wild rush of confused ideas and values wreaked havoc on our traditions. The people of the world, even the Christian nations, struggled as their societies descended into chaos. Where were we to turn? When there was no institution to depend on and no shelter to protect my heart, I believed one thing: God is my Father. I grew up holding the belief that I would realize the dream and hope of God, convinced that within my lifetime, I would complete the long, sorrowful, providential journey to restore God's original ideal for his children. I retained my faith no matter what happened. It was with this heart that I decided to receive the blessing in marriage with Sun Myung Moon, and with him work to prevent religious conflicts and factions from continuing beyond my generation. Conflicts caused by religious divisions must stop now. I am also determined to resolve racial divisions and the conflicts that have arisen from them. Yeah, so as always, there's a lot to pull from this passage, and I think maybe some of our other contributors tonight are going to share on particular sections of this, but I wanted to share why I chose this particular section. And it has to do, I think, with the framing, the beginning and the ending of this passage. First of all, this beginning section, True Mother is talking about her children who have had many different challenges in their life. And I really appreciate this line. I feel like it's what True Mother wishes she could say, or wishes we could understand more, her children could understand. She says, although as their parent, I may be unable to help them enough, I pray for them every day. And I feel that, right? I feel, in the challenges of our families and in Mother's family, that she carries that burden knowingly. She always carries it in her heart, right? She's always praying for her children and for her family to take its responsibility, for the children to take responsibility for the courses that they have to walk. And then she goes on to give this beautiful explanation of, the attitude and the heart to have when we have challenge and difficulties. And I think some of our contributors are going to share on this particular topic. But the thing that I really wanted to bring up, and also as it adds on to our discussion last night, where Irmgard was bringing up this kind of historical viewpoint of what was happening in the world. Again, this section, True Mother's talking about the challenges that Korea was facing, and that challenge is a part of the global turbulence that was happening, and the feeling of, where can we turn from here? And she paints the picture of like, there's so much happening in the world at this time, and people are starting to despair and starting to question, what's going to happen. And it reminds me of the Israelites in their journey, right? The many times and the hundreds of years that they spent in slavery, and then when they're wandering in the desert, the feeling of like, well, when is the world going to change? When are we going to get our blessing? This kind of like feeling starts to arise, because you can tell something's coming up, right? Something, heaven and God are preparing something. But as Mother paints this picture for us, what's the answer that she gives? She talks about two things. She says, when there was no institution to depend on and no shelter to protect my heart, which is quite a statement. She depended on the truth that God is my Father. And this is the belief she held on her whole life, which means that, again, I say this almost every night, but even if other people didn't understand her calling and who she was, she understood, because she had her direct line to Heavenly Parent, to God. And nobody else could recognize it, maybe could appreciate it, but she held on to this her whole life. And this is the important piece to understand, that Mother had an understanding of who she was from the beginning. Nobody had to tell her, nobody had to teach her. She knew who she was from the beginning. And then this statement is the one that stands out to me, is it was with this heart that I decided to receive the blessing in marriage with Sun Myung Moon, and together with him work to prevent religious conflicts and factions and so forth. And just this language, it was with this heart that I decided, is a really different narrative from what we're traditionally used to, that in that time, Father Moon chose Mother Moon, and she, amongst many options, she was the best candidate because of her age and because of her lineage and so forth. But she's telling a different story, which is rightfully so as a woman, right? To the ladies in the call, right? That we also have our own decisions that we make. We have our own internal journeys that we walk on, that maybe not everybody else can understand, but we know, and our Heavenly Parent knows that journey. And so it's just a very interesting passage to think on and pray on. What does it mean that she decided to receive the blessing? What journey had to happen beforehand? And how does that change our understanding of Father and Mother Moon, and how they came together and what they offered to the world? So I wanted to plant those seeds tonight. And we're hearing from some Subregion 2 ladies today. Our first contributor tonight is our former president and national advisor, Angelica Selly, but I met with her earlier today, and she unfortunately was diagnosed with COVID. But she was so moved by this passage that she went ahead and pre-recorded a video message reflection on this. So let's welcome her by video to hear her reflections.
Sisters and President Keeley, I'm very sorry I cannot join you tonight personally because I was diagnosed with COVID and I have to rest. However, I requested that I could send in a video to share my thoughts on tonight's section because it deeply moved my heart, as I can resonate with so many parts of what Mother's talking about, my personal experience. So I divided up into 4 sections. The first part is when Mother talks about she risked her life to bring children into the world. And now they have their own missions and responsibilities that heaven wishes them to fulfill. Well, what struck me here was that Mother didn't have a plan for them, like many parents do. She really wanted them to do what God wanted them to do, what they're made for. So in that sense, and in many other ways, I always saw that True Mother is also a spiritual mother to her children. And many of us still need to work on that, right? So we are spiritual parents as well as physical parents. That's what I call also a true parent, and who is always concerned that our children do God's will. And course, she painfully noted that she might not be able to help them to fulfill that, but she prayed every day. And of course, I cannot help but think of all of our sisters, elder sisters especially, who had a similar course. Many of us didn't have time for it. And it's a painful path, but we knew we had to do it for the providence. That was the only reason we even agreed to do that. And so we gained our strength also from our true mother, because we knew true parents have done the same thing for the sake of the providence. In that case, it was restoring Christianity. There was that indemnity course that everyone was asked to support. So we did. And I'm proud of it, actually. Even though it was very painful, I do believe that our children have been protected in the midst of it all. And I want to thank you, our second generation, next generation leaders, women leaders who are here. You were part of it. You sacrificed with us. You went through so much. And I thank you for not giving up, for being here, for standing strong. And at this point, I want to really thank Kele for stepping into a role that is very highly providential and doing a great job. Please give Kele a round of applause. Because as Mother continues to say, if I had experienced only joyful things, I would never have been able to look into people's innermost hearts. When you take a responsibility in the providence, naturally, you will be confronted with challenges, bitterness, even hell, Mother said she had to go through. And especially in her case, she, as the mother of the universe, needed to understand even the most painful situation of humanity to restore it and to heal it. And Korea, of course, is also a country where we have a history of suffering. So Mother was definitely having had to go through all these situations and be victorious. And that's what makes her, to me, a true mother, not the other glorious events and successes, but what true parents are to me is someone who has overcome suffering, showing us the way how to overcome, how to get out of the suffering, and how to use it for the higher purpose. And that's what kept me going many times, especially as the president of Women's Federation in the time 2010 to 2023, when we walked with True Mother directly every single step of the way. We came to Korea twice a year to lay the foundation for Channel Go for 2020. We all felt her heart. And in some cases, we actually asked her, Mother, do you want us to share about the only begotten daughter? And then Yonanim, who was in charge at the time as international president, she asked Mother, and Mother said, time hasn't come yet. And only later she began to share about the only begotten daughter. But I can only say this, when you take a role of responsibility in the Women's Federation, you surely, most definitely, will have an experience with Mother's heart. Because situations come to us, not because of us personally. This is not a personal situation. And I had to struggle with that many times, because when we have difficulties, we ask ourselves, why me? Why is this happening? I didn't, do it. Of course, we reflect. But so many tests come our way so we can be victorious and overcome, just like our true parents, with gratitude, to even come to the point of gratitude. Took me a while, literally, it's not easy, so that we could come to the 30th anniversary and complete the course after 30 years. So, dear beloved next generation ladies, you stand on a foundation that have many of our older generation have laid of love, sacrifice, tears, and a sea of tears. That's what I saw in my spiritual eye when I took this job. It is the most incredible foundation of any organization in our movement is the Women's Federation, because of the mothers who have sacrificed. So you can be proud to be part of Women's Federation. And you don't have to experience the same thing. I really believe that with all my heart. This is a whole new era now, especially after the Chonma has been established. We have a whole the Chonjimon. We have so much direct access to our Heavenly Parent that we didn't have before. We had our prayer group, and if it wasn't for my sisters who prayed for me in the time when I almost couldn't continue, it was too difficult. But they helped we together went through it all and we were victorious. So now it's easier, and we will be there for you, your next generation. We will support you, encourage you, cheer you on, and give you the space to lead, definitely. Moving on. True Mother, of course, also said there were many times that she had no one to talk to, only God. And same here, when you're a leader, there is no one who can truly understand what you're going through in that position, because you're taking on history. And I purposely made point of consciously and cognizantly not to repeat certain mistakes that I knew had happened before me in our movement or in the world, so that we could bring something new to the table. And it is lonely, yes, it is, but with faith, absolute faith. And sometimes God had to say to me, peace, be still, don't worry, don't leave. I have a plan. And God's plan worked. In the end, incredible success came out. Surprise, surprise. When you go through challenges and suffering, that's not the point. The point is to go on the other side, to bring that turning point. So together with our team, which is still in action, we overcame so many, many challenges. I thank again our office, home office. We're in the trenches with you all, and we brought it this far. So now, to conclude, when Mother says that she, of course, decided to be married to Father San Moon, she also had a determination to end conflicts and to end divisions. And at this point, I feel that's the call to all of us. She does not want to be admired like someone, sister said before me. I believe also that she's really watching us. What are you going to do? In the beginning of the year, she actually said that. She said, I will support whatever you want to do. But she wants to see now that we have grown up, that we are adults, spiritually mature, and be together in unity with our Heavenly Parent. We can do anything. So yes, this is an incredible reading tonight. And I'm so grateful. In order to understand Mother's heart, I believe one of the best ways is to walk the walk, to do what she did in our own sphere of influence in the small ways, whatever we can do. That will connect us more deeply and beyond words than any talk, actually. And that is an unspoken connection. When we see Mother, we feel that, and she feels that too. So thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful prayer tonight. Kamsahamnida.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Angelica. Yeah, she had something she wanted to share. So even pushing through, not feeling well, very grateful for you, Angelica, and some incredibly deep points. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to hear from another sister from Maryland representing Strong tonight. Let's welcome Irina Sakata to share her reflections with us.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you first of all for inviting me here today, President Kaylee, and thank you, Dr. Angelica, former president, who shared very profound message with us. Honestly, I was worrying about today's participation a little bit, and now, I have less idea what I can share more after her, but I'll try my best. And today's part is the same message from one of my favorite sections in Chambu Mogyong, that is Book 2, Chapter 4 and Section 4, which True Mother originally shared in 1977 at Belvedere. And the part that the fruit of perseverance will grow and ripen within you, and one day it'll become the source of your deepest pride. I haven't really been any public position in church like others, a lot of you guys here. So my experience is more like just personal level and more like daughter level, I have to say, and sisters. But like many others, I also had my personal journey, strugglings and challenges. And I had a moment that I just needed to rely on Heavenly Parent and pray, do Cheongsam conditions at Cheonsimon. Formerly it was Cheongsimon. And for a while, thinking of those courses itself was painful. But as I spiritually grew up, I became more grateful that I could be more deeply connected to Heavenly Parent and not trying to be arrogant, but I may understand what True Mother is saying on a personal level. I found myself sharing my past hardships with my friends without being emotional. And even some people are asking for my guidance as well. Now I know Heavenly Parent wants me to grow up more as a couple and family, and also contribute to our community, which I really haven't done it for a while. And it's a little different story, but I started this week with a little bit of sad story in our local area that our county is establishing a new law for high schools that using mandatory clear backpack. I think myself is still new immigrant to this country, and my immediate reaction to that was, I don't want my child to go to the schools in those counties. But at the same time, I also immediately, I taught students in this county as one private school teacher just for a short time. And I know that I need to do something. I cannot just avoid and not to see the situation on me. Connecting to that, the article finishes its message by only the education and mental health and counseling was the most helpful thing to the students. And I know that Women's Federation and our mothers and sisters, we received a call from True Mother that firstly, we need to change ourselves and we need to change our family and our community gradually. I had a really good experience at our Las Vegas workshop and the Camp Shahaka, being with many blessed family members and young children, and I really felt heavenly culture there. And I really want to expand this kind of heavenly atmosphere to our community, which I don't know yet where I can start. But I know with this kind of Cheongsam condition and our members here are the source and would be the answer for my questions right now. So thank you for again inviting me here today. And like Dr. Angelica said, we really have profound foundation, incredible tradition in our community. And I want to really share this one with our neighbors and even with the second gens who left our church, like many of my cousins. I'll finish today's message here and thank you for being with me today.
Thank you, Irina. Yeah, very sincere heart, and Yeah, it's the exact like expression I hope comes from doing this kind of condition is it's the internal work, but it also has to manifest outwardly, because if the natural conclusion is not that, then we're not really doing the internal work, right? We're not really breaking through and understanding what God needs from us and Mother needs from us. And yeah, I don't know if everyone understood, but Irina was talking about clear backpacks. It's because of weapons, bringing weapons to school. And PG County in Maryland had made that a mandate that children have to wear clear backpacks to school because of violence, possible violence. So yeah, very serious situation. And I love the point that the mothers and the sisters really have to think about the responsibility to shift the culture in our community. So thank you, Irina. We're going to switch to our prayer time now, and I will ask Irina to pray first. And since Angelica is not here, Mom, can I ask you, Susan Pfefferman, Mom? You're all moms here. And you can give a second offertory prayer. She disappeared. I think she just left. Okay, maybe not. I will do it then. So Irina, you can go ahead and offer your prayer, and I'll offer a second prayer. Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
The most beloved, dearest Heavenly Parent and true parents, thank you for inviting us to today's Changsong session. And thank you for allowing us and teaching us to understand True Mother, who really she is, with many sisters and brothers here today. Before 2020, True Mother went to many different countries and established her 40-day conditions for Heavenly Parent and True Father and us. Looking back her journey in Cambodia, we know that she did show miracles like Jesus liberating the souls in Cambodia, laid the foundation, changing the dead land to the live land and to the heavenly land. I believe all of blessed families and our members, we can make the environment, provide the environment to Heavenly Parent, following True Mother's course, offering sincere devotion and Changsong and prayer, moving the heaven, all the good souls, all our good ancestors, all the saints, and we know that Heavenly Parent wants us to stand up and really liberate True Mother's burden. Heavenly Parent, our sisters in the Women's Federation especially, we want to stand up more, and we really want to liberate True Mother's heart. We want to comfort her. We want to recognize ourselves who can really soothe True Mother's heart without being recognized by others, but from ourselves first. Heavenly Parent, let us have that strength and perseverance like today's message. Thank you so much, and I prayed in my name, Irina Sakata, and all people here in this Cheongsam condition today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Most beloved Heavenly Parent, we really want to thank you for all the precious people who are gathered on this call to pray together, Heavenly Parent. At a time that we can feel is so important. There's so much change going on in the world, Heavenly Parent. And as we offer these prayers and we offer this study, Heavenly Parent, I pray that what can come through is your perspective, Heavenly Parent, not our perspective, not the world's perspective, Heavenly Parent, but what do you have to say to us at this time? Please show us how we need to change and grow and expand our hearts, Heavenly Parent, but also show us the ways in which to share and impact our communities around us, Heavenly Parent, because we are your children, Heavenly Parent, at this time, and you need us desperately. You are longing to see a world that is closer to your ideal, the world that you have waited 6,000 years to see, Heavenly Parent, from the time that you pour your heart into creating Adam and Eve, and you haven't experienced it yet, Heavenly Parent. So please cultivate in us this filial heart that responds to you with no fear and with no worry, knowing that you are guiding us, that you are protecting us, that you are preparing the way for us to heal hearts, to heal divisions, to transform our communities, Heavenly Parent. We pray especially at this time for the sisters who are representing Women's Federation and supported by the brothers that are here tonight. God, we pray that the sisters and the daughters and the mothers of our communities can fulfill their responsibility at this time, which has not always been understood in history, but now is the time for the women to understand their identity as your daughters, Heavenly Parent, and be able to fulfill that responsibility, Heavenly Parent. So please bless all that are here today. Help us to really hear your words and your message tonight, Heavenly Parent, to continue in this condition and outwards beyond that. I want to offer all these things in the name of David and Kayleigh Moffat of a Blessed Central Family. Amen and adieu.
Amen.
Adieu.
Do our 4-minute unison prayer. Please feel free to unmute yourself and offer your personal prayer at this time.
Most precious and loving Heavenly Parent, our true parents of heaven and earth,
Each of our time together, coming together, united in heart and mind and spirit with our mother, precious and beloved sisters and sisters. Thank you so much for this precious opportunity to offer this hearts to understand your mother. Only one day something really want to understand the heart of your mother. Really want to be able to be vessels, Father, for you to work through us, whatever we go, whatever we do, Heavenly Parents. Thank you so much for the love you give us. Thank you for giving up on humanity. Thank you so much. And there's so many blessings. We can multiply blessings to those around us, Heavenly Parents. We truly pray, Heavenly Father, that all of us are able to get this.
To embrace this
Heavenly,
world as our
we
true
want
mother
to
has pledged to receive
really
so
make a
very
difference in
early
America.
age. Parents, we thank you
Representing the eldest nation in the world, Heavenly
which we
Father.
have even about the
We want to
technology.
support your mother
We
and
can
want her
commune
to
with one another, by the
to
ocean,
support giving us
as well as to
to wipe
separate
away tears from your
we can
heart,
be together,
from your
and this is
face,
quite simple.
parents' face, Heavenly
Thank you
Father.
for
And
allowing us
truly
to
be
communicate
children of
without
the
any
tree
boundaries,
and loyal,
whether
that we can
external or
truly
internal,
love you first more than anything else, Heavenly Father.
anything.
That we
We can
don't
be
be
one.
selfish.
And this
We
is
can really
so
think of you.
true.
Heavenly Parents. Please guide us. We can truly allow Holy Spirit down, Father, to nations in the world, that we can truly establish
keenly aware of all the
communities
problems
through all all the
parents,
activities
we
and
know the
situation
around
parents
them,
have
so
created to be about this world nation and the God.
what a movement
really
given
want to be
you
respectful.
understand your mother's here.
Father,
You can come
all
to
the security,
Students now have to
giving up
become
please accept the humble offering.
to help her, to
Expect
assist, to assist
everybody to truly
each of us is
be revived.
where you
Give
can
her
trust each other anymore.
all the birth.
what is
Really,
Give her to Mother Cindy the
degrading
experience
distance between
to America, Father,
That is not strengthening
to
us.
be united as one, united with you, Heavenly Parent,
it
to
could be
truly
reach them higher in
Becoming
no ideas of the suffering and
foods like that. Something was not
you look at
responded
the children
enough or not.
after
People were not made aware, people were dying. That's why
God,
I pray for
guide us in the
soul and spirit
was revived in
America to be
Adieu. Thank you very much, everybody, for your beautiful, heartfelt, and I can hear tearful prayers. It's really humbling. And we finished 1/3 of this prayer so far. And just so you know, as we move on, we're going to read a few more passages from Mother's memoir, and then we're going to start hearing some very fresh content from Mother that's pushing us to do more with this Heartistic Foundation. So keep praying and digging deeply so we can really be able to respond to what Mother's asking of us at this time. And I'm so grateful to share this experience with all of you every night. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha.